yes, I'm talking about parliamentarians, was a sight to behold. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our gala dinner and as our last speaker of this evening, the former President of the European Parliament, a huge friend of the Jewish people, Mr. Antonio Tajani, MEP.
Good evening, everybody. Buenas tardes a los hispanohablantes. Bonsoir, aux francophones. First of all, dear friends, let me remember my predecessor, Simone Weil, the president of the first European Parliament directly elected by the citizens. As a survivor of this concentration camp, she knew of her own experience the atrocity of the Holocaust in Auschwitz, as she lost part of her family. Unfortunately, for the Europeans, the barometer is very clear. The anti-Semitism in Europe is rising again. 40% of citizens see anti-Semitism as a problem in their own country. In recent years, there have been a number of deadly attacks on Jewish schools, institutions, supermarkets, in places of worship in many European countries. I will sign your proposal against anti-Semitism and the Nazi memorabilia. I agree on this text. But the question is, who is the winner? The Nazi or the victims of the Holocaust? I think the winners are the victims of the Holocaust, because they are surviving in our memory. They are our heritage. They are a message to the new generations. They are the victims of her identity. They are killed because Jewish. But the message of this victim today is very clear. Is the message for the future. Never again. But for achieving this goal, it's important never forget. If we want to strengthen this victory, we need to work all together against the anti-Semitism. But I am optimistic. Tonight, there are in this dinner ministers coming from many European countries, strongly engaged in these countries against anti-Semitism. There are a lot of members of the national parliaments strongly engaged against anti-Semitism. There are members of the European Parliament strongly engaged against anti-Semitism. This is important. We need to fight. We need to fight with a good strategy at school, at university. Our weapons are peace, dialogue, education, history. We need to fight against stupid people. We need to fight against young people in favor of anti-Semitism because they missing the history of our Europe. Only Nazi, why they are Nazi? Because they are stupid, they are very strong? No. this very strong, was every Jewish killed in Auschwitz and the other concentration camp. Stronger than the Nazi. Because it's impossible to kill the Jewish identity. It's impossible to kill our identity, because your identity, it's our identity. It's impossible to split the Jewish people from our history. Our European flag, the stars of our European flags are the 11 Jewish tribes. This is our identity. All the Jewish in our history worked in favor of Europe, in favor of every national country. It's impossible for me as Italian to forget the sacrifices of a lot of Jewish soldiers during the World War I for achieving the unity and the freedom of my country. A lot of Italian Jewish strong fighters in favor of the unity of my country, of our country. And now it's important to remember the past and to work all together. It's important to isolate this stupid and aggressive and criminal people. The European Parliament is strongly engaged on this. I remember on 20 September 2016, in my role as Vice President responsible for interreligious dialogue, I organized the first high-level international conference with European Jewish communities dedicated to the future of Judaism in Europe. Following the conference, several parliamentary committees worked on a resolution on the fight against Semitism, approved by the plenary on May 29, 2017. With this resolution, Parliament reiterated its firmest condemnation of anti-Semitism, asking member states to take all necessary measures to ensure the safety of Jewish citizens and religious buildings. Security has been significantly strengthened and supported at European level by the work of the European Commission Special Envoy for the fight against Semitism. But we need to work hard now and the future. I am optimistic because this is the big mistake of the Nazi memorabilia. Do you remember? Gott mit uns. God is with us. They killed God in the concentration camp. God is with the victims, not with the killers. And fortunately, because in Jewish, Yahweh is the past, the present, and the future. Fortunately, the Nazism is the past. And we need to stop a new anti-Semitism season. We believe in God. And God is in favor of the survivors, in favor of people working for peace. But for me, it's impossible to stay in silence on the situation in the Middle East. There are a lot of people against Israel. As Europeans, we need to defend, to strengthen Israel. Because Israel is part of Europe, not at the geographic level, but as identity. Israel is Europe. I believe Israel among the European Union was a proposal of my party, but also a proposal of Marco Pannella, a good friend of Israel in my country. Israel is the only one democracy in this region. And to kill Israel is a criminal action. It's a modern anti-Semitism. To kill Israel because a Jewish country is a modern anti-Semitism. We need to stop this anti-Semitism. We need to protect Israel. Of course, everybody wants to live in peace. I'm not against the 2 states, but 2 states is not to kill Israel. 2 states is not to send attacks against Israel. This is important. It's impossible to split the Jewish history and the history of Israel, also for us. For this, tomorrow, we will go to the winners. The victims are the winners in our history. And we need to use the sacrifices of these victims for a victory against the new anti-Semitism here and the Middle East. I want, as European, as member of the European institution, to protect every European Jewish living in this continent. Because when a Jewish man or woman, a Jewish family, leaves Europe, is a defeat for us, is the defeat of Europe. It's important to have Jewish people in our countries, in our Europe, because it's impossible to talk on Europe without the Jewish history in our continent, without the Jewish presence in our continent. With this spirit, I will be tomorrow in Auschwitz. In the Latin is Historia Magistra Vitae. The past is important for paving the way for a better future for Israel people, for Jewish people, and for Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tajani. Dear guests, before I conclude, I want to leave you with a request. If there's anything that we or our staff can do to make your stay any more comfortable, or you need some help and guidance while you're here, we're here for you no matter what the hour, day or night. You have the contact numbers. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my sincere honor to host this gala dinner. It's also my pleasure and duty to thank our amazing team who made it happen. You're going to have to excuse me for a brief minute while I do an Oscar speech. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my esteemed colleague, Ruth Isaac. Our head of institutional relations. Ruth labored night and day to ensure you could all make it here. Her focus, discipline, and organizational skills have been invaluable. Nothing has been too much trouble, no mountain insurpassable. Ruth, thank you. Thank you to Daphne Friedman, whose patience and behind-the-scenes work means all the bells and whistles work as they should. Leslie Hochstein, who's our resident travel agent, who's been dealing with all the requests, all the last-minute changes. Leslie, thank you, and thank you for still talking to us considering all the grief we've put you through. And we recommend that you should book yourself a nice break in the Bahamas as soon as this conference is over. Kelly Leibovich and Misha Vorobeichik-Müllers deserves a special mention too. Misha is our resident diplomat, protocol expert, and drafter of correspondence. Thank you, Misha. And Kelly was liaising with journalists, guests, and any other last-minute tasks. Kelly, you handled it all with aplomb. Thank you very much indeed. To our production team, for your professional flair. Kaplan, overseen and managed by our tremendous fixer, on-the-ground organizer, Rabbi Eliyaku Edelkopf, who's brought his own brand of Milanese flair to our event. So once again, we thank Kaplan Production. And Michel Gourari from the European March of a Living was also an integral part of the team. Every ship needs a steady hand on the tiller. And Michel, you are our steady hand, so thank you. To our press team, Yossi Lemkovic, David Kalfer, Oliver Bradley, our head of strategy, Tal Rabina. Gentlemen, thank you very much. To all of our partners, the International March of a Living, TSKZ community here in Poland, ACOM in Spain, IPOR in Holland, the Jewish Forum in Antwerp, the Romanian Zionist Association, and finally the Simon Wiesenthal Center. We thank you for your help, guidance, and being part of this delegation. Ladies and gentlemen, just a minor but important bit of housekeeping for you. We kindly ask you to be ready on time in the morning. Breakfast is available in this room from 6 a.m., so you're more than welcome to come down and join us for breakfast. If you do, on the other hand, feel like you need a lie-in, we would say that the buses leave for Auschwitz-Birkenau at 7:15 sharp. And with that, dear guests, enjoy your suite, have a wonderful remainder of evening. And once again, if you'll allow me to say, let us fight the scourge of anti-Semitism with every ounce of our being. Together, we can do it. Together, we will do it. Thank you. And also, we've got a checkout in the morning.